Welcome everyone to our incredible third webinar of the series, Spotlighting High Value Programs. This is the continuation of the learning that we started way back in January. Super excited to be here with you all because this is one of my favorite conversations. And we're actually picking up a bit from the conversation we had on the ground in lovely Tucson, as well as a number of you responded to our request for high value programs. And so I've got a couple of things of those to share. We might call on a couple of you, but a few announcements to come before we actually officially get started. The sharing and the learning will continue after this program by popular demand. This is one of the things that you put on the list that you wanted to see the webinars on. We're going to talk about communications. We're going to talk about how you got testimonials. How do you really figure out the value prop that you offer? So you definitely want 5/7 on your calendar. Our final one, and we're still looking for what topic is going to be most pertinent to you, will of course be 6/4. That's going to be our final in this particular virtual series. So absolutely still looking for the things that you would like to talk about. Luckily for you all, there is still time to turn your brag flyer into a poster to be featured at the NIGP Forum's 2026 Procurement Excellence Showcase. In very small print on this slide is the link, but our Jennifer's going to put that link back into chat, so you'll be able to click right through there if you want to know more. Now here comes some super exciting news. So everybody hold on to your hats. Let me see if you're holding on to your hats. No one's holding onto their hats. All right, well, that's all right. I still think this is a super exciting news. Drum roll. There's a new chapter speaker program. It's to help you with one of your most common challenges. We've got the 40 NIGP speakers and growing who can offer lots of opportunities for you to build out your programs. What a great announcement when we're talking about high value member programmings, right? The fees vary, but I have it from a very well placed source inside NIGP who just happens to go by the initials JS, that some speakers, if it's virtual, there's actually no charge. So this is a really cool thing for you to know. How do you get more about this? Well, it's pretty easy. That inside source that I had, she's actually given me, I'm not sure she meant to, but she's given me her email address. So it is right there. But Jen, what else do you want to say about this very cool announcement?
Well, we are very excited to announce it. This is the second time, hopefully, you all are seeing this now. We did publish it a few weeks ago in our Leaders in the Loop. I will tell you that I already know matches have been made successfully. So very excited that our chapters and the group of speakers were really excited about this. So I encourage you again, if you maybe have all your spring events done, looking for your fall, even not just a conference, but a membership meeting, a brown bag lunch, whatever it might be, to request that list from me so you can get those speakers booked for you.
Excellent. And I love it. Do you see that Rosalind's already, she's already taken advantage. So she's already a testimonial for the program. So really super exciting to see this go. It does need your use and it needs your recommendations for speakers. So help Jen help you by creating this incredible source. All righty, let's dive a little bit into what we're here for today. In chat, what is sticking with you from our membership conversation last month? Now, if you weren't here with us, sorry about that. Read the chat. You'll hear some really cool ideas, I'm sure. If you were with us last month, what is sticking with you? Because we had a conversation about this.
Ouch.
Yeah, ouch. Anybody have anything that they've been playing with since we talked about membership and belonging and connecting and how do we create those personal connections and how do we support members based on what they're asking for? The chat has gotten quiet.
Maybe still thinking them over.
Yeah, they could be working on them and not familiar and not familiar with their results yet, so are not going to post. So it's
Peggy, I'll
okay.
just also do another plug. This is also, if you missed that session, I will put here in the chat the link to where you can find all the recordings to these webinars so you can go back if you did miss them and listen or listen as a board or a committee to a certain subject matter that may be important to you.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, if anything, I hope one of the things that if you were with us is rolling around in your mind that it's not about you, it's about what your members need and want. That was the big thing we talked about is that we tend to have a set of events and activities and expectations of what we're going to do, and it's very focused on us, what we've done before, what we feel we're capable of doing, and it's less focused, not intentionally so, but less focused on leading with what members need and want. And that is changing, right? I'm going to put up a poll because part of what this is all about is this notion of creating value that's meaningful to and through the eyes of members in needs. So tell me, what's harder for your chapter? Is it creating the value? Maybe it's communicating the value, right? Maybe it's really dealing with what value is. So it could be figuring it out, it could be the actual creating of it. Maybe it's, hey, we got value. We're just not entirely sure we're actually, getting through with it. Some good, I can see this is, this poll is resonating. People are jumping in. I love it. Very cool. Well, Jen, I am certainly glad that we chose the topic that we chose for next month because in the lead right now, and it looks like we've got just about everybody in, is, let me give it another moment or two here. Yes. And the lead is communicating value. This whole idea of what is I got the value, but what is it? Next month, we're going to spend a lot of time on that. And actually, because this one came up, let me ask a follow-up question. Just sort of an anticipation of how we're going to deal with that topic. What's your communication sore point? When we talk about communicating value, what is the sore point? Oh, thank you, Jenny. Guys, I love questions. Dealing with value means sort of this notion of I understand what it is and I am and if I communicate it, but I'm not really addressing it. I'm not really getting to the value proposition. All right, folks are coming in quickly here. If you put other, please share in chat, and that would be 4 of you so far. Share in chat what that other is. So what's your communication sure point? You could, and it's multiple choice, but don't check all of them, right? Lots of good stuff. Lack of member participation. Okay. Cool. Very good. Been doing it this way for years. Yeah, sometimes we need to make some shifts. Okay. Particularly because people have changed. That's right. Let me just make a suggestion. It's not how many members you have. It's how much of each member is participating. Yes, Nicole, and we're going to continue to have this issue with getting through those email gates. I feel your pain. Yes, Katie, thank you. I love that. How do we think out of the box to grab them? And we're going to talk a bit more about this. I'm really excited. The reason why we ask you these polls like this is so that so that we can build the webinar next month that will be best for you. Plus, it gives me an opportunity to talk through some of these points as we go. I'm going to end the poll because a lot of you have participated. Share the results. You're in good community if you're said you don't know if our communications is landing. And of course, you don't know if members are going to open the emails, which is all part of that. We don't have good testimonials or member stories. Yeah, we rely on one or two channels, and we know that the magical thing says, you have to have seven touch points. And if you're trying to do all 7 touch points through emails and none of them are getting through, you got a problem. So, yes, Jenny, and that's not just Club Express, by the way. People sometimes think that Outlook is guarantees you read, and it doesn't. The way it goes back is a click. We don't know if they read, so absolutely, and that's something we have to think about. So that's why a call to action or something in that email oftentimes will help. I'm going to stop sharing. Let's get moving now and talk a little bit about how we put the value up front through the kinds of activities we're offering. And as we do that, talk about some of the verbiage or the words we can be using to make that happen. All right. I recently read an article in my and Jennifer's professional publication called What Satisfying Member Means Now in 2026. It was the Texas CPAs, Karen Fitzgerald and Chris Vaughn, who's a really cool thinker from Sequence Consulting. Highlights of this is that associations have to be active problem solvers as conveners or trainers. Members say the value is not is they're looking for the arc of the experience over the year. So I love this quote. We're not looking for that annual spike of experience. And sometimes we have a really good flagship event, but we don't do anything afterwards. And so the answer to what have you done for me lately is not much. And that's a critical question on top of the mind for association members, right? I mean, we've all dealt with sweeping changes at federal agencies and up again, down again, tariff. We now have the terrible war situation, but we've got lots of other things going on. And at the end of the day, association members are looking for practical solutions to their burning issue, right? To their pressing problem. And they want to have the confidence that the association is equipped to handle that, right? The other thing that came up is, I love this one, is the main event becomes one experience in a series of experiences. That adds up to member value. So what we want to do today is to talk about how can we build more events, activities really is the word I want to use, so that we can do what Kara's doing in her state association and what Chris is seeing in a number of other kinds of chapter organizations, to talk about what does it mean for us to give people a series of experiences that add up to member value. So let's first deal with what I'm going to refer to as myths and facts. Okay? Myths about high value: requires expensive speakers. Nope. Needs a big turnout. Nope. Is a formal event. Nope. Has to be free or low cost. Nope. It's got to be in person. The facts are, when we talk to people, if it solves a problem, fits within a workday, can be repeated, so they feel that experience over and over again, and members leave feeling smarter, safer, and more connected. That's high value. So we put a lot of time and attention on our signature event, not saying don't do that. Don't misread what I'm saying. It's just that we have to balance that with other experiences throughout the year. For the formula for high value is impact plus relevance plus repeatability and member-to-member usefulness. Let me repeat that. Impact has an impact on the individual. It could be that what they're doing is having an impact on the community, right? Relevance, it's speaking to me and the things that I am facing today. Repeatability, it's this sense of a series of experiences. And member to member usefulness, that's about the fact that I'm in connection with other members and I'm creating a community as we learn together, as we solve together. It is driven obviously by, and so I'd like to see you throw out in chat. It is driven by us having the one thing, respond to the one thing that members consistently say helps them do their job better. So you all are professionals. You talk to a lot of professionals. What is one thing that helps you do your job better? And be as specific as you can. Networking is a good answer, but we can make it better. How can we make it better? Why would I ask that question? Yes, because networking is sharing information. One of our issues is sometimes we use words like networking and people go, oh, ho hum, right? They're just, they've had enough networking, or they got something pressing here and their kid has a soccer game and they have to get this part of their desk cleared enough to get to that game. And you want me to come networking, it's not parallel. It's way down here. But I have a problem and I have a group of people I can go talk to. I'm sharing information. I'm sharing the experiences. Yes, Kimberly, I'm sharing the experiences that I just had so that I'm helping others learn and that you can build on that. It's great mentors, Jessica, thank you. It's great discussions, free flow of ideas. So rather than us leading with, oh, I have an event for networking, lead with, we're going to have discussions on X. We're going to have a free flow of ideas around Y. We're going to have some mentors in the room, right? So it's really about us addressing it, telling people how we're going to help them do their job better. All right. It's very easy for us to lean on the word networking, but our busy members are saying, not so much, not so much. So one of the beautiful things about, and I just saw that two different folks, Rosalind and Sandra, just mentioned that they're using the speaker program. One of the cool things is, can you imagine having let's say you have a signature event and you can't bring in a big speaker for that. Let's just say, you're really leaning on what you can from a budget perspective. But one of the topics is around, I'm just going to say, navigating the new tariffs. I don't know. Let me just put that out there. Then the following month, you have a lunch and learn that's virtual, and you bring in one of the speakers through that program who now brings a national perspective and helps them think about it differently. You see how the big event is here, and now by tapping into different newer names, I can create a smaller experience that builds off that. And it's addressing something that is a high pain point right now. Our emerging professionals program is now incorporating an educational component during our roundtable. Yes, more and more, Jenny, I am seeing that the free flow of ideas is good and we can describe part of what's going to happen, but people oftentimes want to know that there is a specific issue or topic that you're going to address. And then being able to customize that as you're suggesting to a specific audience really helps people find the program that'll make a difference. All right. All of this is very good. Let's get a little more concrete. Is that okay with you guys? Let's get a couple more ideas here where we can play with it. Now, just so you know, as I build the next slide, I stole some ideas from some of you as well as other chapters, okay? So I just want you to know. But let me start by saying, when we hear educational, or we hear social and networking, we think event. However, not everything is an event. Yes, many of us have signature events. In chat, tell us what your signature event is. In chat, what's your signature event? Come on, I know some of you have reverse trade shows. Fall conference, thank you. Winter conference, spring and fall conferences, annual business meeting, awards, honors, fall forum, RTS, area 2 conference, regional conference, trade show, anything that's a signature event beyond RTS or regional conferences. I'm sorry, I missed the golf chapter. Was that golf chapter meeting? So it's RTS golf. Oh, that's a golf chapter. Okay. Looking to see what else. So golf fundraiser. There we go. I knew there had to be some folks that did that. Excellent. Love it. Summer learning sessions for our chapter. Cool. Awards at the end of the year. All right. So we have signature events. These are great and high value programs. Some of them will require calendar, speakers, rooms, and run of show. But many of them don't. So let's build a menu of options that gets beyond the big signature event. For example, digital resources. This is anything that you provide that's in the moment and on demand. How many of you, go ahead and chat, have a website that you update regularly to show new information, new resources? How many of you have an e-letter that comes out on a regular basis that includes a column which addresses a specific in the moment issue or topic? How many of you have some kind of a swag that answers a question of in the moment? How many of you offer templates or tools? You see, any of these provide learning, right? In a way that doesn't require that they get somewhere, right? We oftentimes think of conferences, we think of workshops, we think of panels, full day. But if someone learns something useful without attending an event, it's still education. So you still are treating them, giving them what they need. Love that question, Jim. Sometimes I use words just to see if anybody's listening, and I appreciate it, and you get 15 extra points. So by swag, we mean giveaways, something that you might give away. So for example, doesn't come from on the procurement side of things, but I had a chapter for another organization. There's a lot of acronyms that people had to deal with, and they created a magnet that like went on a filing cabinet or whatever with all of the most important acronyms to know. So it was a swag, just a throwaway, but it was one of those things that gave them an opportunity to give something free that had a point of information that could be a reference point. Thanks for that question. Okay. All right, Jim. I think we've just created a new opportunity here for us to come up with a scientific wild guess. Love it. Okay, so digital. But let's also look at educational activity beyond that. Let's look at learning cohorts, peer briefings, practice sharing sessions, member-led demos, office hours with an SME, okay? Going back to that speaking, or remember, you have SMEs. Jennifer can certainly connect you with someone. What if you had a speaker who just did an open hours, just there, like on, and maybe you could even get someone to be willing to do it once a month for, say, the second Tuesday of the month. And they have a 45-minute spot where they are on the phone with an open Zoom link and people can come and ask questions. What about taking a case study, something that maybe happened in another area? So connect with another chapter and find out something that happened and then write that up as a case study and have a session on it. Maybe it's template walkthrough. So here's a template that you can use for X to get X done, right? We're going to walk through it on Zoom and we're going to answer questions and we're going to tell you some best practices about how to fill out some of these responses. All of these things is learning in the form of an activity that doesn't require an event. If you paired, for example, some peer briefings and you did, let's say you did a little event and you offered people, it was going to be over coffee, and they would come for coffee and they'd sit four to a table at a coffee shop, and each table would have a quick would have one person sitting there who would do a quick briefing on a particular topic or issue of importance, and they could take their coffee cup and move from one table to the other. Peer briefing idea, by the way, that I stole from another chapter. And you've got an educational activity. Now, sometimes just pure social activities are important, but it doesn't have to be an event. I'm going to talk about just about a book club I discovered, but there are interest groups. Someone was mentioning this, young professional lens. Is there do you, and I bet some of you do. Anybody have an affinity or an interest group for a segment of your group? A boating event? James, am I invited? That sounds like fun.
Absolutely. Come on down.
I love it. Um, Peer activity is something we've talked about. Yes, I mean, I really think that we miss the opportunity by thinking everything has to be big. Do your signature event, build some digital resources out of that, do some peer events, come here and do a volunteer working, get people together. One of the things that we do with we manage the Maryland Recycling Network, and twice a year we take our board meeting out of a virtual zone, and we do it in a location like a food bank, or what we just did was I forget what the place is called, but it's a recycling center where people drop stuff off and they have to be sorted, like paint colors and this colors and stuff like that. And we do the board meeting and then we do a volunteer working session and people are just chatting and talking, right? We invite everybody that wants to come, and we always get a few extra members for that volunteer working session, right? All right. The next one is microservices. So these are these really small, like set of on-call services you can have. Think single topic, think fast, easy to deliver. Think peer reviews. So I got this from another chapter where if the group was looking to be certified, this was in the facilities for fire and emergency services, and if you wanted your facility to be certified, the chapter would come in and they had a couple people who were graders at the national level, right? And they would walk through and tell you, based on your certification, where things were going to be in line, where they weren't going to be in line. Now, maybe that's not something you might say, well, we don't accredit stuff. No, but there may be processes, and perhaps you can have somebody look at the process and say, here's a couple of ways that you could fix it. Could it be a quick consult? Could you have somebody could you create a list of these people and this is what they would consult on a quick phone call? And then people could call them up and say, hey, I see you do a quick consult on filling out the DEI section of this area. Can I talk with you, right? Job boards, mentorship programs. All of these are microservices that create the value in between those signature events. And the last one I want to mention is I put this under advocacy and agency support. What I'm talking about here is anything you do that takes the profession and lifts it up as a profession. So it could be that you go into a company an agency or whatever that doesn't have an agency membership or doesn't have members, and you do a briefing for the manager on some of the things that are really coming down the pike based on information you get from NIGP and from your chapter. So you're lifting up the sense of your procurement professionals that you have here are subject matter experts, and they're going to help you do better procurement. Maybe you do resource kits. Maybe you do student outreach. Maybe you do career day activities. Anything that follows in there. But the best way to do it is to say, this is to support the profession. This is to help our workforce development. and people will be more likely to find it useful. So essentially what we're talking about here is, I mentioned this before, all of these elements have high impact, relevance, usability, and repeatability. That's what makes them high value programs. Now, I know that some of you are doing some of these already. Let's have another quick poll. Find out how many you are using. All right. Do you do activities that are educational, not events? Don't put your signature event there. Do you do social activities? Do you do microservices? Do you have digital tools and resources? And of course, do you do traditional events? Now, I expect that we have 63 people here. I should have 63 people click traditional events. Okay. 62 people. I mean, most of us have that. I wanted everybody to have an opportunity to say something. Now, tell me what else you have. And in chat, if you said an educational activity, a social activity, a microservice, a digital tool, or resources, throw that in chat so we can curate a quick list by chapter of some of the wonderful things that we can do. Excellent. Now they're coming in here. Template activities. I love that. And what chapter are you with, Desiree? I should know, but I don't. So what chapter are you with?
Sorry, I was trying to find the unmute. I'm with NorCal
Okay,
NIGP.
great.
Yep.
Yes, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Starting lunch and learns. I love it, but some of them have lunch and learns, so you guys can get together and talk. Katie, you have a document library. I love that. And lunch and learns. So you all are doing some of this, but sometimes our communications is solely about our signature events. And then here's all the other things you can do. And as a busy person, I'm not going to go down to these other things. So being able to highlight these a little by little is going to be the most important way to do this. Let me share what you guys have got. Look at this. 67% of you have educational activities that are not events. 8 of you have microservices. 25 of you have digital tools. Now, if that digital tool is something that maybe another chapter could use and you're willing to share that with Jennifer, we could put that in the chapter resource library, couldn't we, Jen?
Absolutely. And I also encourage on our chapter leaders insight community to share those type of things with other leaders as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, perfect. Request
Hey,
newsletter activities. Yes, go ahead.
Can I just highlight something I think you said earlier when I look at this kind of circle diagram here about your signature event? And I know we hear this stat all the time, and it happens at NIGP as well. You have your signature event, and maybe a quarter of your membership attend, which means you're not hitting the majority of your event. So taking a subject that you talked about there and then repurposing it in a virtual aspect for the rest of your members to get is such an easy lift, is that when you get those speakers for your signature event, say, by the way, also in 3 months, we want you to do a webinar, maybe go into more detail. We can offer it to our other members. It's just as an easy way to do add-ons and not rely just on who comes to that. That's one event a year.
Yes, absolutely. And if you're going to put that much effort into one event, being able to reuse some of the content is really cool.
Make it work for you multiple times.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could turn if you do a 2-day event, you could turn every one of those individual sessions into a webinar later in the year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good, Rosalind. Thank you. See,
Yep.
we know some of you are already doing this. It's just that you don't maybe give yourself enough credit to shout out from the rooftops that you're doing this. And then the question is, how do we help you augment that to get the communications out about that? And a large part of what I think is that our subject lines have to be talking about the topic They have to mention the topic and they have to mention learning or topic and solutions. We have to have subject lines and we have to speak in terms of the fact that it's a lunch and learn. What is a lunch and learn? It is a casual opportunity for you to pick up tidbits that you can then go back to the workplace and put into use. All right, so as a recap, high value programs can be educational without being an event, social without being a party, valuable without being large, repeatable without being exhausting, and impactful without being expensive. So, another way is to take that question we asked earlier about what are we helping members solve, but say, what's the simplest way we can do that? What's the simplest way we can help them with that issue? And let's not wait until the signature event. Let's go ahead and say, how can we help them today? Okay. Now, let me give you some examples directly from the field. To my baseball fan, this picture's for you. The very beginning of the chat. I forget who said it, but it's right there for you. All right. Signature events. I love the area too. They submitted this. It's a regional gathering. Look at that. Look at that title. United for Progress. Is that cool? Yes, James. It provides education and community. I love the fact that they talked about professionals, the elected people, and suppliers, right? So building that community. So an area conference where it gets a little bit bigger than your own little town, right? And it's this notion of together with all the voices in the room, we can have good conversation. The Tampa Bay area chapter submitted that they have a spring and fall half day focus on a key topic. Notice it's based on member input. What makes this high value is it's focused and condensed and free. Okay? I know sometimes free is difficult. And so there's backlash to free. But when you make it truly accessible and you bring it into a point that I'm going to walk away with a specific thing, so it works. Arizona State Capitol chapter submitted that they do a certification and recertification prep. It's a review session, but it's targeted, it's focused, and if somebody's getting ready to go to certification or they're recertifying, it has got a big with them, right? I need this, and my answer is right here. Why? Or excuse me, how? Through my chapter. That's value. Northern New Jersey chapter does lunch and learns focused on new pros. In person or remote sessions, they're newly appointed purchasing agents and buyers covering best practices. It's targeted, it's focused, flexible. That's how, free is one way of being flexible, but being able to be remote or in person is another way of being flexible. And huge, what's in it for me? Because I'm new and you're helping me be the best I can be. You're jump starting me at my job. The Kansas Association does a weekly pulse to the board. Now, they just started this. I saw it. I had to put it up here. I love this. It's high value because it builds volunteer connections and it's super quick. It's a weekly email check-in with the board highlighting, and I love the topics. What we've been building, like it's an update on the progress. It's like we are moving forward, stick with us, and then a weekly win. Totally love that idea. That's a digital point of value to a specific group, right? So we could also put the reason why this works is it was focused. But the idea here is show them they're part of a community, it's making progress, and you get to do this in a real simple way of doing this. Oh, Nicole, see, this is the reason why we like to have chat, and this is the reason why we like to have all of you in the room to converse with. It is difficult to find leaders to volunteer to lead certification sessions. If you're a smaller chapter, consider a multi-chapter approach and invite your entire area's membership. I mean, is that a good idea? So, folks, find some spaces for collaboration. Look at this. And Nicole's getting lots of thumbs up and loves. Lots of love. Love that. Power in the people. Yes. All right. Here's the one that I just heard about. It's not from your world, but you could steal this. The Alabama State Network of RRC. So it's a real estate group. It's a very small network. They do a bougie book club. What I mean by that is they happen to have a person who loves to cook. So she hosts it most of the time, but not all the time. It's a monthly gathering. They picked out a book. It's small group. They get together and they break bread. And the idea here is always to have go over the top on the food, right? And it's a group. This one person admitted that she does most of the hosting because she really loves to cook and she doesn't like to get out. So it works well for her. But it's a round robin sequence in terms of the book being mixed. And it's not related to the profession. They tend to always get around to the profession, they said. But that's a social activity. It's a book club and it's an opportunity to get folks together. Now, do I have any? I don't know if I have all of these people in the room. I mean, I know we don't have the RRC. I can answer questions, but I believe we've got most of the other folks here. What do you guys think about this? And does anybody want to jump in and tell me more about this, right? I love that, James. If you bring up the business, you get fined. And what can the fine be? The fine can be something to your foundation so that you can you can give a registration to another person. And actually, you laugh. I was at a meeting, a chapter meeting, and they had, if your phone went off during the meeting, you had to put $5 in a cup. And at the end of the meeting, all those $5, and the meeting I was at had about $100 in it, right? A lot of phones going off. It was a big meeting, but all of that went to the scholarship fund. So anyway, just throwing that out there. All right. A trunk or treat with our members and families. Love it. So any questions about any of these and anybody who submitted these, because all of you submitted these, or excuse me, 5 of you submitted these.
Maggie,
Any
can I
questions?
add one?
Yeah.
So this goes along with the education, and I know, or at least did know that North Carolina, I don't know if anybody from North Carolina chapter is on here. You know, many chapters, while we know we need that virtual component, that's what's strong right now, but some areas are working very well in person. And what they created was almost like a road show in which they created one day session, but they moved it around throughout the year to all the major cities in the state. That way, all of their members could get that experience of that same education, but it was one job. It was one time to create content, and that just moved around the entire state. Some sessions were big, some were very small, but it allowed you to reach all the corners of your state and your membership in a different way with only creating one set of content and just moving it around.
Is someone talking? Wasn't sure. So what group was that again?
It was the North Carolina chapter.
All right. I mean, I steal these ideas. You don't have to create something new. Many of you already said you have a conference and a trade show, and maybe staying within your own state is good. Maybe some of you are already doing area or joint. Maybe you really should explore that, right? Because it's just more synergy. Maybe you decide that no, we're just going to put 2 educational events, bookmark the seasons, right? Maybe you want to say, we're going to try lunch and learns, but we're going to start by just focusing on one particular group. And we're only going to put ourselves, like we're going to do 3 in a row. So we're going to do May. This is May coming up. I'm going to do May, June, and July, and then that's it. So you don't have to like live with this forever. Try some of these things, pilot some of these things, and see how it goes. All right, you guys are being a little quiet, but fortunately, I have a way around that. I would like you all, if you've got a phone, if you can take a picture of this, or if you can type in the bit.ly right there, and I'll put the bit.ly into the chat as well. Give me just a moment. This is a document, and I would like us to have some fun creating some events. And this is what we're going to do. You on this, when you open this up, you're going to do what's the headline or title, what problem does it solve, who is it for, what makes it high value, which category does it fit, or maybe it doesn't fit any category, it's a new category. And you don't have to describe it yet because we're going to help you describe it, right? So click through. And it's a bit, if you're going through the bit.ly, it's going to take you through to the bit.ly site, and you're going to click through on that.
Yeah, Peggy, when you get through, you want to click at the bottom that says continue to destination.
Yeah.
And then that brings up what looks like almost an Excel spreadsheet that will allow you to type in to those answering those questions.
So what we're trying to do, just to be, yes, it's Google Sheets, yes, is let's just see if we can create some ideas and some lists. And if you know the problem you want to solve and who you think it's for and what makes it high impact, but you're not certain how to make it happen, fill in the spots that you can, and then let's do a yes and help people out. Nice. Okay, we're seeing a couple of really good ones already. The summer learning series. Yeah, I think that's a neat concept that someone put in there. So let's figure this out. The members have advised they would like to learn about. So the beginning of the summer learning series is going out to folks and saying, what are the hot topics? I often find that when you're going to go do something like that, it's kind of nice to do a 1-sentence poll that says, what are the topics you'd like to see? Then after you get all of the responses, then you can go back out again and say, now you got a list of topics, right? And you can go out and you can say, okay, which of these topics are really hot for you right now? Show, tell, share, template exercise. People who need templates, absolutely. Cookies and conversations. I'm coming to that one. Name your talent. Oh, I can't wait to see that come out now. Yes. So this is what I think is really cool when you do a template exercise and you sell it as copy and steal for your own use. You do not need to create from scratch. That's solving an itch, right? And that's the way that you begin to show the value. Yeah, the impacts office hour, continuous focus learning on the state's e-procurement software, state employees, anyone using the version of it monthly. And yes, what you could do is if it's something that's easy, repeatable, and you don't want to think about, sometimes people say monthly, you might say monthly for the next 3 months and test it, right? Yes, I'm loving the summer learning series. Now, the other interesting thing about that is how can you make that even more accessible? Can you make those 45-minute learning sessions?
Peggy, are you able to share this document in real time for anybody that may not be on?
Of course I can. Hang on a second. Let me change my
Sorry, didn't mean to just, if somebody didn't,
No, I think that's a brilliant idea.
I just want to make more work for you.
No, well, see, it doesn't. Y'all are seeing it now, correct?
Yes.
Now, don't notice that I have Facebook and LinkedIn opened up. Please don't notice that I have my social things that I'm already. You know how that is. You have to be connected. I mean, I might be old, but I like being connected. Now, if you are not, oh yes, James, I get it. If you can see the screen now and you're not able to get on there, but you want to put it in chat, go ahead. We'll transfer it into the spreadsheet for you.
Peggy, can I ask just some questions and lead-ins and
Sure.
talking about titles and headlines? And this probably leads in a
Yeah.
little bit to our conversation in May. Like a coffee chat. Love that idea. But is that the title that's going to draw people in? Do they need to have a subject matter there to make it so they know what they're coming to, or is it make it too bland just saying coffee chat?
So when we were doing that for the group down here, we would say coffee chat, and then we would say if we were doing, we did a version where we did topics, and we would add the topic coffee chat colon da 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 da
Yeah.
da. The sometimes it's very useful if you don't have if you're just doing this very informally just as chats and you want to get it going, you might want to make sure you have a key facilitator, so like featuring so and so to as a facilitator, because people will come for that person sometimes.
I just got called out for saying it was bland. Sorry, Katie. Katie, it was really kind of leading into what we're talking about next week and what is going to capture somebody that they're going to want to click through, they're going to want to register, they're going to want to attend. And that's why I didn't. It's not bad. It's just why I brought that up, knowing
Totally
that
teasing you. Totally
that's
teasing
okay.
you.
But I think it's still good.
It
It's
was
just
perfect. It was a valid point to bring up. So, yeah.
because you think about in what's going to make somebody register for somebody or think or open an email. What is in that subject line that is not going to just make it scroll through the rest of the day and I never get to it. So it's
Right.
part of that. What is going to be that draw for me to say, no, I'm going to click that today. I'm going to click it now.
Great ideas here. I love it. Coffees for closers. I love that. There you go. There you go. So, the person who put in why join our chapter network, da da da, who's it for? Is this is this an activity, or is it a digital piece, or
It would be more a digital piece, I think.
okay.
We're finding out that somehow they are finding us from our website because we are like getting new members what we've never even heard of the agency. So somebody is spreading the word. So why not make it a big deal?
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say that the title why join our chapter, you might want to have some fun with that, and instead of say why join our chapter,
Or
like,
join our chapter. I can take
well,
out the why.
well, yes, yeah, because that makes it, but also is that sometimes people go, what's a chapter? But why join 200 professionals, local professionals? Why join the group? Why join the group for blah, blah, blah. I mean, sometimes
Sure.
it's just if you go to what is the pain point, and the pain point was likely, I need to talk to other people to figure out how they're doing X. And the chapter has this kind of a organizational framing to it.
And Peggy, I also think for creating titles and headlines, that's where chat becomes so helpful to come up with asking for something catchy. To your point, asking it to fill that need. How would you title it? That's just not your generic, where chat can come up with hundreds of variations that are just a little off, a little cool, a little different.
Right. Oh, I like this. Stop guessing, start procuring smarter.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. Whoever wrote "you did what?" Now that's one of those things where somebody's going to kind of come in and look at that. Free tacos and margaritas. I definitely opened that email. I love it. And for board volunteer essentials, you could almost see the subhead as have more fun doing your job. Right? Because if you know what you're doing, there's a great deal more fun in it because there's a level of confidence and you're kind of excited about it.
Peggy, we just have a couple minutes here to the top of the hour. I don't know if you had anything else after this.
I have one more thing I want to just, and it's actually just to show them. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the share, go back to my other share. I'm going to leave this document for us to continue working on it. Okay. I mean, play with it, and under comments, say to someone, yes, and consider this, or, hey, we did this. Talk to me, right? Let's have some fun here and let's share and create really cool things, right? Okay. There we go. All right. So what you will get in the slide deck, this is the last slide I want to show you. What you'll get in the slide deck is when you are sitting and you're sitting with your event group, or you're sitting with your communications group, or you're sitting with your board, here are some questions for you to use as prompts to help you think differently, right? Here are questions. What real pain point does this problem solve? So if you're trying to figure out, well, how do we market this? Ask that question. Trying to figure out, should this be a session at our flagship event, or should this be a lunch and learn? Should this be a 30-minute virtual gathering? Ask that question. Is it easy for volunteer delivery? Is this something we're building that we could do many times over? Then let's build it to be used many times over, right? So these are just some questions. I wanted to leave these with you. You will get the slide deck when we come out of here. I will make sure, well, through I have a deep contact in NIGP. So I'll make sure through my deep contact that we send you the link, so you have also, in case you don't save the link to the document. When we get together next week, Jen says, no, when we get together next month, we're going to talk about communications. I saw your poll results. Is there anything else you would like us to talk about in communications? Put it in the chat now, in the waning moments of this particular group. Guys, come up with a high value event, try something different, make 2026 an opportunity for you to test ideas. And with that, Jennifer, what else do we have?
That's all that we have until next month. Thank you guys very much, Peggy. I think this was very, very helpful. And thanks for everybody for discussions in the chat. That was lively. And like Peggy said, we'll grab that Google Doc as well, and we'll include that and put it on the website, and everything will be sent in the next Leaders in the Loop. So you'll be able to access that. Or I put that link in the page. That's where it will always be after each one of these sessions. That's where we put everything. So thank you guys for your time today. Appreciate it.
Excellent.
See ya. Thank you.